Hello, everyone. My name is Danny. This review is for the movie called A Dog's Journey. This is a 2019 film. It's rated PG. Just came in from the theater a little while ago and saw it. This is directed by Gail Mancuso. It stars Catherine Prescott, Betty Gilpin, Dennis Quaid, Marge Helgenberger, and Abby Ryder Fortson. This runs an hour and 48 minutes. Has a long description, so hang in there with me, all right? Some friendships transcend lifetimes. In A Dog's Journey, the sequel to the heartwarming global hit A Dog's Purpose, beloved dog Bailey finds his new destiny and forms an unbreakable bond that will lead him and the people he loves to places they never imagined. Bailey is living the good life on the Michigan farm of his boy, Ethan, and Ethan's wife, Hannah. He even has a new playmate, Ethan and Hannah's baby granddaughter, CJ. The problem is that CJ's mom, Gloria, decides to take CJ away. As Bailey's soul prepares to leave this life for a new one, he makes a promise to Ethan to find CJ and protect her at any cost. Thus begins Bailey's adventure through multiple lives filled with love, friendship, and devotion as he, CJ, and CJ's best friend, Trent, experience joy and heartbreak, music and laughter, and a few really good belly rubs. Directed by two-time Emmy Award winner Gail Mancuso, A Dog's Journey is produced by Gavin Polone and written by returning screenwriters Bruce Cameron and Catherine McCone and Maya Forbes and Wally Wodolowski, based on the best-selling novel by Cameron. And then it just goes through a lot of stuff here. It's talking about composers. A Dog's Journey is executive produced by Seth William, Meyer, Lasse Hallström, Luyen Fon, and Wei Zhang. Just a lot of people are involved. That's the basis of it. So, A Dog's Journey. Well, I'll start off by saying that obviously this is the second movie of two movies that are existing about this subject, about this dog Bailey. The first one covers Bailey being reincarnated a bunch of times, and it was kind of a shock that a movie like that would exist. Like, people don't think about that very often, and to make it into a movie gets people thinking. But then it was so heartwarming and lovable. I do own it up here, and it's a great movie, but it is controversial depending on what you think and everything. And obviously Christians think what they think, and then there's some people in this world that might believe in reincarnation, but it's not as big an issue when it's in the movie because it's just such a cute movie and it's really for the family. And some kids, might get emotional with the dog dying so many times in a movie, but I don't think that I've heard much chatter about it being so much about reincarnation. So I don't think that's like the biggest issue with the movie. I think the first one really covered the base well and set it up well for the second one because there was some unfinished business, obviously, and there was a new task and everything. And I think they handled it well. Um, I think they could make more movies. I just don't think they're going to. But they really could just keep going, with this subject. Just have a new person for this dog to, be in charge of. So, yeah, the second one, it's kind of weird. And I'll start off by saying that the mother of CJ is probably the worst person in the world. Like, terrible mom. Like, the specific visual aid for what a bad mom is. And it's terrible. It's hard to watch. This is supposed to be a kids movie. It gets really awful in some parts and uncomfortable for the audience. Like, we're there to watch a movie about a dog. We're not there to watch for all these really harsh elements of arguing with family and moving away and not talking to your family for a long time and all this other stuff. I think it really kills the vibe of the movie, especially if children are watching. Um, I think that there's really, really awful parts to this movie, and then there's really, really great parts to this movie. There's really no in between. So that's first off, is to prepare yourself for some really harsh realities, especially if you've had any life experience with not getting along with family. It's tough to make it through this movie, A Dog's Journey. Um, as far as the movie goes, acting is good. Dennis Quaid is brilliant. This last movie he did before A Dog's Journey was out a month or two ago, where he's playing a really scary villain, kind of creepy guy, just didn't work for him. I love him in these kind of movies. I love him as a family person. I love him as a kids movie kind of guy. He needs to embrace this role, embrace other roles like this, because he's just wonderful. It just touches your heart in a way that not many other people can pull off that kind of role. And everybody else involved, I think it was really hard working around the character of CJ's mom, because she's so awful and the things she's saying are just so out of place and they're so over the top, and they're almost like way too rehearsed. I'm gonna try not to come back to CJ's mom all the time, but she's like the worst character to put into a movie. She's just so, like we saw in the previews, that she and Dennis Quaid and his wife all have some kind of a problem, but it just seems so rehearsed when you're watching it in real time. And it seems like, that this lady is really like this in real life, because she comes into this movie and this character is supposed to be harsh and bitter. It seems like she's really harsh and bitter. So she's not giving it any kind of chance, to listen to people around her, to listen to what they're saying. She's just saying what her role is supposed to say. So we'll try and move on from that, but really it kind of is the worst part of this movie, and really hurts it the whole time. There are some other people in this movie that, like I said, it's hard with all the details that go into this movie, and you don't want to present yourself with them. But there's a couple bad boyfriends that present some relationship, almost harassment. We'll just say that, but it's sometimes it's assumed to be more. There's a lot of alcoholism. There's a lot of really heavy issues here. So most of the dog stuff is totally for kids. It's just funny. A lot of the lines are funny. It's really heartfelt. The ending is tremendous because you're gonna cry. You have to cry, especially if this is the end of this movie series. It's just wonderful. And I'm not saying that kids shouldn't watch this, but they just won't get anything out of the rest of the movie along the way. There's a couple of times where they really, soak it up that the dog is fading away onto his next life. And I think that is going to be the hardest part for kids. I'm pretty sure in my theater I heard a couple kids kind of crying. I mean, it's hard to watch that. And if you haven't seen the first one, you don't really know what this one's about. You just know it's about a dog. And the whole reincarnation stuff could really mess up a kid if it sees, a couple different dogs dying within the same film and he didn't know that was coming. That can be tough. So I would just say, people, prepare yourself for the seriousness of this movie. It's not the most enjoyable thing because it gets really hard with the issues, gets really uncomfortable with all the stuff happening. This lady makes everything seem really rehearsed, while everybody else really embraces the twists and the turns of the story. And even though the stuff is pretty obvious, some of things aren't, and they're very delightful little connections and stuff. So they do kind of connect the dots for you at the end, which is nice of them if you haven't figured it out. And Ethan kind of connects some dots for you too, and that's nice. So if kids are watching it, if you're watching it and you haven't got it, everything kind of gets wrapped up at the end, and it's really good. It connects itself. So I think this is a good movie. I think I've seen better like religious movies that have dogs in them and they have a better message and they're happy and they're more fun to watch in general. And I think out of all the dog movies that exist in this world that maybe aren't of the Christian orient and are of a different kind and have a message about them like this is above them. You know, it's very delightful. It's very funny, and for it to be the second one, obviously it's success, and it knows what it's doing and knows where it wants to go. And so, everybody who sees this, you should know what you're getting into, and you should enjoy it if you really do want to watch it. And so, I'm gonna give A Dog's Journey a B because I just think that one or two characters can really kill your movie. And this didn't kill it for me because I enjoyed everything else and I did cry at the ending and it had good conclusion and it was well done with good actors. And I think everything was heartfelt and original. And it didn't seem like scene, but it might for some people. And I just think that it was really nice movie to watch. I'm glad to be a part of the experience. You know, I will watch these again and again, the first one and the second one, and I just suggest you experience them. It might not be for you, but you don't have to agree with a nice movie like this to enjoy it. So, a B for A Dog's Journey. Thanks a lot, guys. My name's Danny. If you like this or any of my other videos, try and give something to watch. Like and subscribe to my channel if you would. And as always, enjoy your movies. Thanks.